6:30. Calling this meeting to order. We'll start with a moment of reflection. We're looking at confirmation of the agenda. I have a recommendation that the council agenda dated February 17th, 2026 be approved as circulated.
Sorry, and if we could approve as circulated as amended for the report I sent out on Friday for the tender for the office renovation.
Okay, as amended. Moved by Councillor Corby, second by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest for anybody? Seeing none, we have no reported closed session, so we are at item 6, consent agendas. Would anybody like anything full? Councillor Jeff Bell?
Since they kind of all tie together, 6.13, 6.16, and 6.17, they're all related to the school system.
Okay. You'd like to just comment on that or?
Yeah, the worst thing that I read in this is, illegal passing of stop school buses remains a serious and widespread issue for the province, occurring an estimated 30,000 times a day. That is concerning, and I'd like to see us send a letter in support to all these, or one letter in support of the enhanced measures for the stop arms and the cameras.
I'm happy to do that. I should just back it up. How many years ago did North Perth start? North Perth was actually leading one of the charges or this or to do exactly what is happening right now.
Okay.
They are looking at the cameras. There was a cost associated, and then it's not just the cost, it's like then where does it go and how do you charge them back? So they're aware of things, they're trying to make a plan, but I don't think it's gone as smoothly as it is, but definitely a serious issue, and thank you for it. So where would you like letter support to go?
See what
Or
we got here.
support the resolutions?
So to the Honorable Steve Clark, Government House Leader, and I guess Ada, very similar to what Perth has done, just using their example.
Okay. Everyone in favor of that? Any motion?
If we could, please.
Okay, moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, seconded by Councillor Vanessa. All those in favor? Carried. Anything else from anyone? Okay, seeing none, I have a recommendation of the consent agenda 6.1 to 6.19 with the exclusion of 6.13, 6.14, 6.16, and 6.17. You received for information and that the regular council minutes of February 3rd, 2026 and the special council minutes of February 9th, 2026 be adopted. Moved by Councillor Martin, second by Councillor Vanessa. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. There is no public meetings, hearings, and delegations. We are moving to item 8, reports. Director of Public Works, Ken, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Orr. The report is just my update report for council's information. Bunch of things I call annual reporting and invoicing out as well as normal duties. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Councilor Harvey?
I talked to Ken before the meeting and congratulated him on his grant of 38,000. And I asked the question, crack filling and stuff on some of our paved roads and that. And Ken can speak a little more to that, I guess. That could be part of it.
Yeah, crack sealing, which we try to do a little bit every year. So crack sealing would be something we can use for that grant. It would be crack sealing we've already done. Generally, the grant, I think, is for work done up to March 31st of 2026 and the year prior, so.
I had mentioned a couple of roads that line 10 and from the lumberyard out to the 7. there is some cracking and stuff, but, I know the, cold weather's pretty hard on our paved roads, so, and heavy traffic, so.
There's some mean potholes up there right now. Any other questions for Ken? I have one, Ken, in regard to the street light cost sharing for, South Huron and Perth East. Do you happen to know if they do it by the user or if they do it as a municipality?
I think, so we just invoice them for their share of the lights along the highways. Basically, because most of those lights are on First South, so the billing goes directly to the other municipalities, and I think they collect the funds through the general levy taxation. I'm sure.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ken? Go ahead.
Just, I don't know if you're aware of it or not, Ken, the Royal Bank has a community grant. Right now, we're getting 40 grants out across Canada for $40,000 to help with accessibility in the communities for the municipalities. So when it's open till March 15th. It's just on the roads. It might be something for that, maybe the pool or whatever. Used to shop.
Sure, thank you.
Any other questions for Ken? Okay, seeing none, I have a recommendation that the Director of Public Works update be received for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, seconded by Councilor Corby. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Tracy, you are up, Deputy CAO Treasurer.
Thank you, Laura. My first report is just my December, January update. Basically working on year-end budgets, bank recs, so December was obviously a shorter month here, and January's been getting the budget going, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions for Tracy on her February, December, January update? No, I seeing none. I have a recommendation that the Council of Township of Perth South receive the report of Deputy CAO Treasurer titled Treasurer December, January update dated February 17th, 2026 for information. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Their second report.
For you, Mayor Orr. So this report I like to bring to council every year. It's our property tax receivable update. That's part of the information that the province uses from the financial information return to see how our financial health is. This year we're a little higher, but as I reported, there was approximately 132,000 in taxes that weren't paid due to farms being put back to residential, and the farmers are waiting for that to get changed. And as I said, I've set up a assessment at risk in the year end for 2025 because we know those will be coming. And also within the first 2 weeks of 2026, we had received another 136,900. I think with the transition with the new financial clerk of being new and then myself, the late notices weren't going out as much as they should be, so we got those out first week of January, so that's when we actually got 136,000 in very quickly. That would have put us back to almost what we were in 2024. But one thing I like to add to my report is the province says that we are like at a low risk because of what our total levy is and what we collected. But I always like to add that portion that we've already paid the upper tier and the school boards their portion, so really we've lost our share of the levy basically when you take out that account. So I just like to show council like this, we're in pretty good shape here. We don't have a problem. But if you were a municipality that struggled with cash flow, that would be a big deal that you've given all the levy to the upper tier and the low and the school board when you haven't collected it all. So I just like to actually, point it out. If the province did it the way I would do it, we'd be at 5.8 as opposed to 2.8 for the average. So just a little bit of information I like to put it in there. But if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Counselor Kirby?
Tracy, with your draft here, how much of that would be compounding from, say, 22 to 23 to
The
24?
previous arrears or anything 2 years and.
Okay,
So that 81 is pretty consistent, staying in that column, so.
and that's carrying forward year after year?
Yeah, so at the end of
Okay.
2025, anything 2 years and older was 81,000.
Okay,
So that's why I'm saying that the present was that the farm and that the ones that when they got the late notices that came in and paid, so that would put it down to 100, around 100,000 if those were in something. So,
Counselor Vaness?
Is it fair to say though that our arrears are probably double what they have been in the past?
but that's what I was saying. I think it had a combination of, notices not going out, that people were late. If you take that 132 from the farmland and the 136 that were paid within the first couple of weeks of June, we'd be almost exactly what it was in 2024.
24 would have had some farm stuff that. Quite
Wow.
awesome.
Possibly, yeah. So I was just trying to, look at why we were higher, and that's what I could come up with, but, we're working on getting those late notices out a little quicker this year, and so,
Any other questions for Tracy? Okay, seeing none, I have a recommendation that the council receive the report titled 2025 property tax receivable updated dated February 17th, 2026 for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Young, seconded by Councilor Vaness. All those in favor? Carried. Next, council remuneration for 2025.
speaking of Mayor, this is another annual report that needs to be brought to council, just, outlining all the remuneration that was paid to council for 2025. You have any questions? Happy to answer.
Any questions? None? All right, I have a recommendation that the council receive the report titled 2025 council remuneration date, February 17th, 2026 for information. Moved by Deputy Mayor Young, seconded by Councilor Martin. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Okay, Lizette, we're at item 8.3.
Thank you, Mayor Orr. My first report is my update. There's been a lot of prep work on getting ready to migrate the website to its new operating system. So I've been working on that, and the elections piece is starting to ramp up and getting some preparation work done for that. Those are kind of the big things along with my regular duties, and there's been lots of meetings, and if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Lizette on her report? Councilor Martin?
I did see there's a couple events coming up for people that are interested in running, and it says we're a partner in that.
Yeah.
Are you involved in that?
So through our clerks meetings, we set these up, and we do this every term. We work together as a group to put information sessions together so that we can take advantage of cost savings. So there is one next week. I'll be posting another poster reminder this week for that. And it's being hosted in St. Mary's. And then the second one is on March 25th, and that's being hosted in Perth East. And both events are also going to be having a Zoom option to attend electronically, because we are kind of a widespread county, so.
So is there speakers at that, or is that sort of a drop in?
So we have a new group, a new company, I guess. They're called Clerks on Call. So these are two retired clerks who have been in, and actually one of them is Michelle Casavecchia, who used to be the clerk here. CAO clerk, I guess. And she and Michelle Smiter, so it's the two Michelles, uh, they have created this clerks on call and they provide, information about what to expect if you're running for council, and they highlight a lot of, information from that point of view. They'll have questions, but it's like a 3-hour session. Um, it's not just a drop-in. It's something that if you are really interested, I think it would be it's a good, basic, primer, I guess, on what to expect to run as a council member, so. It touches on like expenses and how to run your campaign, when you can campaign, and that sort of thing, so. Mhm.
Any other questions? What are you giggling about there, Sam?
Clerk on call. Carrier number.
It's not gonna be me. All right, I have a recommendation of the clerk's update report be received for information. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, second by Councillor Vanessa. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are at councillor remuneration.
This is just the January expenses, so.
It's a little higher because I think enrollments within there.
Yes.
Any questions on the council remuneration? Okay, I have a recommendation that the report regarding the council payroll January 26th, dated February 17th, 2026, including the payroll for $10,396.49 be approved. Moved by Councillor Corby, second by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are at Chief Building Official, bylaw officer, enforcement officer, Martin. You have the floor, Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor Order, members of council. Before you is my report on the office renovation tender results. The RFP was issued in accordance with the township's current bylaw and the renovations, or for the renovations to the township office. The tender closed on February 12th at 2 p.m. Before you are the tenders. And the lowest bid received was from JSB Construction for the amount of $66,387.50. That's including GST. JSB Construction he's a local contractor that's demonstrated experience in this sort of work. We're familiar working with them, so that's our recommendation to council is that our fee be awarded to them. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Martin regarding the renovation? Go ahead.
Just one, in the, either, was there a time frame to have the project done?
Yes, we allowed 6 months, but from my understanding, they want to get going on it, finish it sooner than that. Our plans is to stage, the renovation. It was initially thought that we do it in 3 stages, but I think we've come to the conclusion that it'd be better for everyone if we could do it in 2. So the front office will be the first office to be built and finished, and then we'll move into that, and then we'll move staff around to allow them to renovate the main office area. We may have to move one of the staff or 2 of the staff into the council chambers while that's going on, but by doing that, it's gonna, I think, drastically reduce the time they're here.
Well, that's what I was thinking, just the disruption, this, nice, the quicker the better, but I'm saying.
Yes, get it done, yeah. Yes. We were encouraged by the amount of tenders received from local contractors, and yeah, the budgeted amount for the renovations were $100,000, so we're well under our budget.
Great. Any other questions for Martin? Do you have a start date, Martin?
Not yet. We'll have a pre-construction meeting with the contractor once it's awarded, and hopefully soon.
Okay. All right, so this is the added report. I have a recommendation of the Council of Township of Perth South award the tender RFP 2026-01 for the Township Office Interior Renovation to 2099323 Ontario Limited, which is JSB Construction, in the amount of $66,387.50, including HST, and that staff be authorized to proceed with the project in accordance with the submitted proposals. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Corby, all those in favor? Any opposed, carried. Thank you, Mark, thanks for sticking around. All right, we are at, CAO, Will, your reports.
Well, thank you, Mayor Orr, and members of council. This is my second monthly report. My first one was in December. And I believe I said it in December as well, but I've tried to set up the report, with broad headings that, hopefully a lot of the projects that do come along, I can put them in there. If nothing else, I'm also hoping that they can be jumping off points as well, for some of the topics that we have. So, first one, under ongoing corporate projects, council will recall from earlier this month. We did have a presentation on the building condition assessment. I'll tell you, I've started into that report. I'm asking council if you can to try to bear with me. I'm working with a lot of spreadsheets with a lot of numbers and with no other effort than to try to present council as something that you can have a fulsome discussion with. I'm trying to paint a picture. This isn't about trying to play around with the data that I have, but you will see when I do send the stuff to you. I can certainly get the raw data to you even now. I put them all on little flash drives for you. I can even get that for you before you leave today. But it's a series of spreadsheets, a bunch of pictures, and I'm trying to create a story so that you folks can have a discussion. It's not, as I say, trying to hide anything or whatever, but with it right now, it's a little bit difficult to put something together. So just asking that you do bear with me on that. Under other items, I don't have anything new to report. I think we're still waiting with the ministry for the Sebringville subdivision. We do have a Biddulph Blanchard fire board meeting coming up this week on February the 19th. We will need to discuss what the next steps are for the township, and I know Bob and Sam will both be there as well this week. So definitely there will be some work in 2026 working towards what that new arrangement's going to look like. So definitely council should be prepared to engage on that coming up. Greatly appreciate everybody coming last Monday for the joint council meeting that we had over at Kirkton at the community center. Lots of good things I think came out of that. I know it was a lot for people to be at for that meeting. There were a lot of really big topics, but I think we're on the right track. And there will be some additional discussions that will have to go on. Obviously, a lot of direction has been given to staff to bring reports back for the councils to jointly look at. We want to make sure that we have as many conversations with interested people as we can. There was some interest expressed at the meeting with the Optimus club over there in Kirkton. And I think that's important to have that discussion with them as well. So there will likely be a discussion coming up on that as well. And as well with the building condition assessment stuff. We have some stuff. South Huron has some stuff. We want to make sure we can get that together and get a really big picture. So this stuff will take a little bit of time, but we want to make sure that everybody has a voice. There's a lot of voices to be heard over there. And I think it's really important if we're going to go through an exercise, we do it right. And that's really why some of this stuff might take a little bit of time. It's not about dragging feet, it's about making sure the right people all have their voice heard. And I think that's what I've got for now, unless there were any other questions.
Any questions for Will? Councillor
A
Vanessa?
couple questions. I guess the first one, probably the most important. Did you or South Huron get anywhere talking about insurance for the volunteers in South Huron? Oh, sorry, in Kirkton.
Yes, absolutely. So true to his word, Tony got us some stuff on the Tuesday morning. We got that over to Tim Shute. Tim was able to fill the form out, and before I went home on Tuesday, that went back to Tony. So that was all done on Tuesday. At this point, we are still waiting for Intact to review it and provide notice back. But certainly we were right on that on Tuesday.
That's excellent, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And then, to your first one here, the ongoing corporate projects, I would like a copy of that.
Sure. Yep. Yeah,
I know, the rest of the council.
Yeah.
I'll speak for myself.
certainly, I can get those to folks, just remind me before everybody goes home, I've got it all on the flash drive.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Any other comments? Questions? Okay, seeing none, I have a recommendation that the CAO activity update report be received for information. Moved by Councillor Jeff Bell, second by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are at planning fees review. Where did you want to do that?
Thanks, Mayor Orr, members of council. So, this is a report that, I'm writing with the information that came to me about a month ago that there was an exercise that had gone on through 2025. I wasn't aware of it, so we are a little bit behind as per South compared to the other municipalities, but I think we can discuss it tonight and we'll get back on track with where the others are. So throughout 2025, there was a collective and comprehensive exercise done by the lower tiers, everyone working together as well as county planning staff, to look at the existing planning fees, and through that, what is the cost of actually going through a planning application? So how many hours, they're looking at staff time, what is staff time worth? And they went through that exercise. There were a number of surveys. They also reached out to some of the consultants that may be performing additional work over and above. They looked at some overhead costs, and ultimately they did derive fees. So again, two primary goals, one being that they wanted the fees to be coming from a cost recovery point of view. Land use planning is a proponent-driven service. So the concept was, we want to make sure that it isn't the local general tax base paying for planning applications. So that was the first goal. And then the other one was to have consistency between the municipalities. So that's why they worked together with county planning staff. It's AI. The last time the township did look at its planning fees was in 2021. That's when planning was brought back as a county service. At that time, it was all of the fees were looked at, the same goals were in place. I think, to be fair, because it was a new service coming back online, there likely was some room to go through the process to figure out where are we at, and to reanalyze. So when we look at the fees, I think there's three different things we should be looking at. Some of the fees are entirely local fees. It's up to council as to where you want to go. The local fees that I was just speaking to, certainly that's council's entire prerogative. But keeping in mind that there had been an exercise done by staff, a very rational, logical way of coming up with fees, to look across the county as well as the planning fees themselves. So definitely a local choice, but a lot of thought has gone into it across the county. And then the third level of fee mentioned here would be the county fees. Now, those aren't the responsibility of the township, and obviously those aren't a fee that we could look at in any great detail here at the table. So I guess in terms of that first option, entirely council's call. These are simple recommendations that I have here, but looking at your cash in lieu of parkland fee, you've had the same fee since 1998, and while I don't know everyone's across the county, I do know that at least two of the other of the three, outside of ourselves being the fourth, are in the $1,500 range. Keeping in mind as well, this is for, or these are for consent. So when you do a subdivision itself, you will either have an overall fee to pay for the parkland for that subdivision, or there would be land donated in lieu for an actual physical park. So this is only from a consent perspective. So my recommendation there would be to move to $1,000 per consent from the 500. Again, you've had 500 since 1998, but entirely council's prerogative to look at when we get there. Encroachment agreements, my apologies, Martin, putting you on the spot, when was the last time we had an encroachment agreement?
I've never done one.
That was my guess too, so, there is a fair bit of legal involved, when you do get into encroachment agreements, so, $200, I'm imagining that's also been a long-standing fee, that my suggestion there is that you do up that to 400. And then the only other, fee, I had suggested that, council may wish to take a look at would be for a telecommunication tower installation, letter, and it's really just, looking at, a letter, I'm assuming Martin, you would likely write that, letter from a building zoning perspective, and, recommending the fee go from $50 to $100, for that letter. So those are kind of the first set of fees. Then we get into, the work that, county staff have done from across, the lower tiers as well as the county planning department itself. And, you can see our current fees, the current column under 2025, that may vary from municipality to municipality. But the other three, would have already approved, the fees in the recommended column. So the other three have exactly those same fees as presented. Couple of notes, because I know that definitely, a question could come from the zoning, amendment situation we have. The staff, and rightly so, were approved to charge a fee of $2,900. Over time, cost of living had led the county portion of the fee to rise. So there's been a period of time that we haven't been collecting the full amount, for our zoning applications. That's part of my recommendation on a go-forward basis, that cost of living, be included in our planning fees, so that we may not find ourselves in this position again. Short of that, I would highly recommend that as much as, there is a fee charged, if you don't wanna go with cost of living, we do need to make sure that we're at least, charging enough to, that county fee is covered. We are invoiced back from the county for that fee, so we wanna make sure that we're not losing money on an application. Couple of other notes, again, I mentioned the, cash in lieu of parkland, but I did wanna provide some context to the type and nature of the applications we have. And I think it's really important that we all understand, most of our applications start with a surplus farmhouse dwelling settlements, followed by the, zoning bylaw that comes after that. That's the bulk of our planning applications that come to us, and certainly at the local level, that's where a lot of our zonings are held. So I did want to provide that some of that perspective to council as you're looking through this as well. Were there any questions on the report?
Any questions? Councilor Minutes?
If we go up to the first chart, there were open ones, I see a garden suite agreement. This is a fee for the application, but that's refundable then? It says refundable? It's $1,500 and
Right.
staying the same, so. Is it fair to assume somebody applies for a garden suite when it's finished, they get the money back?
Can I
Yeah.
speak to that? Yes, historically, we use the garden suite agreement if somebody wanted a second dwelling unit on their property. We haven't issued one of those in, it's been a number of years since, we've been allowed to do second dwelling units. So they're kind of, they're still in our planning fees and they still could be done, but it would make no sense to do that. If you're permitted a second dwelling unit, why would you enter into an agreement with a second or with a?
So is there a fee for somebody applying for a second dwelling?
No, there is no fee.
Okay, thank you for that, give it a clarification. Appreciate that. And the other question I have here is, some of the fees are going up for, if we go to the planning style. I'm trying to understand why they're going up. Because we say it's cost recovery, which I understand, if we were having service out. But I mean, the planners are there whether they have work or not. Right? So if somebody applies, they've got work. If they don't apply, they have no work. They still get paid.
Right, I would use a similar analogy to Martin though, right? So whether somebody builds or not, we still need Martin here and equally, Martin,
Right, we're not asking for building fees to cooperate. We're asking for the other fees.
agreed. But again, I think they're looking at it from a similar perspective, is all I'm saying, right? It's looked at as a cost recovery versus they're sitting there type thing.
I just don't like any fees going on. I will be voting against this. Absolutely not. We just fee everybody to death. I mean, we never ever think about spending, unless it's always taking more. And it's not just this council. I mean, we see it especially in Perth County. I mean, they've got the highest tax increases of anybody around the last 5 years. So I will be voting against it, and I would like to report a vote when we get to that point.
No, Deputy Mayor Melham.
Yeah, I just like to comment on Councilor Vanessa's comments there. The county charges us a fee when the application comes in from First South. We don't pay anything until then.
Right.
And then if something happens, we still have to pay the county.
Oh, right, it's just the fees that are charging before cover that.
Now, I'm not sure if they do, right?
If I could just add to that, it's proponent driven, so nobody's forcing anybody to pay these fees unless they're bringing an application forward.
Right.
So,
would
so
say
the development's paying for the developer, in essence. If somebody's bringing the application forward, they want to do that application, it costs a fee. The Perth County did a wholesome review of what it costs, the amount of hours it takes, to go into those fees, and that's the numbers they came up with.
But on here it says, most of them are increased based on survey results. My interpretation of that is because the other three lower tiers are higher than that's what we're gonna match them. I mean, I'm seeing it already in, building projects. There are buildings being absolutely agriculture buildings that are being built in First South because our fees are lower than some of the surrounding communities. And I don't wanna say because Middlesex or Oxford has this fee, we're gonna match their fee, cause right now we're gaining projects in our little municipality because we're not the same fee.
Do you want to comment?
Again, at this point, obviously the exercise was commenced before I
No,
got here, and
I
I would say that's probably not the intent of the goals they set out when they're looking at who should be lower or higher. What I would say again, and I'll revert back to looking at the types and nature of the applications you have. I did make a point to speak to both Haley and Andrea about it, and to date, there's never been a concern when somebody comes forward looking at a surplus farmhouse dwelling severance and the associated rezoning as to what the fee is. That was certainly one of my concerns too, Councilor Van Ness, that, you know, is this a big concern of people coming? And it isn't. So, I guess that's what I can speak to on our major planning related applications. From a building perspective, I don't know, I can't speak to
I'm
that.
sure we'll get into that later in the year.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I can just speak a little bit to the survey, because I did participate in that portion of the review last year. I can say from a staff perspective from Perth South, planning does take a lot of extra time on my part for helping with circulations. The planning department does a lot, but the local municipality for our own applications, we have to do a lot of that work. And so that's part of what has driven the increase in cost, because there is a lot of work that has to be done when an application comes forward.
And I'm not sure if anybody goes around the table, but do the other municipalities not have development charges and we do not? Do you know, Martin?
But every other municipality in the county development charges, not us.
Right. Any other questions regarding this report, Councilor Martin?
I have a couple questions, just for my own understanding here. So when we talk about zoning amendments, for example, and we say that we're losing 377 on each. So, this 33,33 is charged to the applicant from the county.
We actually are charged that 3,000, so we pay the invoice ultimately for that, for town's planning time.
So we were charging 500, and they
no,
were charging us 33,
They were charging the 2,900,
2,900.
right? So.
It
not
comes in
only-
one, yeah,
Not only were we not able to make the county's fee, we certainly weren't having a fee on top of that.
okay. So also, if we're looking at our most common, which is the surplus farmhouse dwellings, and I've done this very quick math. It was costing about 7,000 and now it'll cost about 10, is that correct?
Yes, I didn't do that math myself, but you're right, whatever the increase is for both the consent and the zoning. And so you put about 4.
Right, because the zoning is going up about 1,300. The spent is going up another 700, so.
Yeah, you're just shy of 10, yeah. Close to a couple thousand, I would say, overall, between the two applications.
Is anything else doubled up on the process, that there would be more than one fee?
You could very well have an OPA and a rezoning in a situation. Again, I'm looking at the number of OPAs we have, and they're not very many overall, so not going to happen all that often. But I mean, you could have all three in one. It's technically possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll say it, but then you taking the recording vote.
Yeah, if you get a mover and seconder, I'll take over the recording.
Okay. So I have a recommendation that the council approve the recommended 2026 local land use plan fee as set out in the report dated February 7th, 2026. And that the recommended 2026 local fees be increased annually by the cost of living adjustment, COLA, starting in 2027, as are the approved county fees. And further that the recommended 2026 local land use planning fees shall take effect upon approval of this report. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, seconded by Councillor Corby.
Thank you, Mayor. When I call your name, if you can answer yes or no to the resolution, that would be appreciated. Mayor Wilhelm,
Yes.
Councillor Corbett,
Yes.
Councillor Van Ness,
No,
Councillor Jeff Bell,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
Yes.
and Mayor Orr,
Yes.
and that is carried.
All right. Did you have anything else for us? Okay. Correspondence. Council reports. Councillor Corby, would you like?
Not too much. We have a fire board meeting Thursday night. Other than that, we're gonna just have some good discussion on from both sides where we want to head and what it might look like, so. That's all I got.
Deputy.
Most glad.
Councillor Vaness?
yeah, most people here were at the Kirkton meeting there last week, wonderful meeting. A really engaged group of residents. Had wonderful discussions with them. I'm really hoping that between South Carolina, First South, and the residents there, we can make a program, have an agreement come together that everybody's quite happy with.
Councillor Jeff Bell?
Yeah, I second Councillor Venus's comments of the meeting at Kirkton. I think it was an excellent meeting. And then I went back for another excellent breakfast on Sunday, on Sunday there, and had a chance to chat some more with some of the people, so that was nice.
Councillor Martin?
Underway with another community game night. If anybody is around on the first Monday of the month, we're gonna go 7 to 9, so there's more time for chores ahead of time than. Yeah, so it sounds like it's positive. We're hoping that it'll continue to go. That's it from.
Yeah, I don't have anything written out, I'll make a report at the end of the month when they tell my stuff up, but, county has had, their special meeting for forestry. And we are canceling this meeting for this week, we have a meeting with, the Honorable Rob Black at the county office, so. Other than that, I've just been busy with a lot of phone calls and, yeah, I think I'm very grateful for my council, I'll tell you that. All right, I have nothing else to report, so I have a recommendation that the report regarding the mayor's monthly activity for the month of January 2026 be dated February 17, 2026, be received for information. Moved by Councilor Vanessa, second by Councilor Corby, all those in favor, the opposed, carried. I have a bylaw, the bylaw 7-2026, being a bylaw for drainage works known as the flooded drain branches, given first, second readings. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, seconded by Councilor Martin, all those in favor, any opposed, carried. 11.2, I have a bylaw, a recommendation that the bylaw 6.2026, being a bylaw for a water service connection charge, be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councilor Jeff Bell, seconded by anyone, Councilor Corby, all those in favor? Any opposed? Opposed, one, and carried. And we have announcements, would anybody like to announce anything? Seeing none, notices of motion. It's on the agenda, anyone? Okay, you go to business. Good question, other question period? Confirmatory bylaw. I have a recommendation that the bylaw 9 verse 2026 being a bylaw that now confirm and ratify matters dealt with by resolution in the township of Perth South, be given first, second, and third readings and be properly signed and sealed. Moved by Councilor Vanessa, second by Councilor Martin, all those in favor. Carried, and we are at adjournment. The meeting goes adjourned at 7:17. Moved by Deputy Mayor Wilhelm, second by Councilor Corby, all those in favor. Carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for coming.